Hi, my name is Joseph Leopold, and I am sitting here with Kim Azugi, an Israeli citizen. Tell us a little bit about your family over in Israel, Kim, and your connection to the country.
Well, I was born in Israel. We moved to the United States when I was 3 years old, but my parents were also both born in Israel, and my far family still lives there. I still visit there every summer. I go for like a month. A lot of my family lives in Ashdod, which is south of Tel Aviv, so they're actually being attacked by bombs more frequently than people in the north, so it affects me a great deal.
So, would you say that it's difficult for you to be over here at Syracuse University while the conflict is raging in Ashdod, your home?
Yes and no. Um, it's not difficult to be here just because I feel more safe here, obviously, than if I were to be in Israel at this time. But as also, my cousins call me and tell me whenever there are bomb threats, and sometimes they're woken up at 6 in the morning. And when I get a message like that in the middle of class, it catches me off guard, and that's when I find it's stressful to deal with that during school.
So, do you believe that students here at Syracuse are knowledgeable about the crisis going on in the Middle East?
Some are and some aren't. I hate to see, sometimes I go on Facebook and I see people discussing it, and these are people that either know nothing about it or know so much about it, and people are trying to rebuttal. Um, and so I think, in a sense, that could be good because it intrigues a conversation and people become more interested that way. But it can also be bad when people don't have the right knowledge to even be speaking in the first place. So it's good and bad.
Right, of course. So, being from Israel, I assume you are pro-Israel in this matter.
Yes.
If you wouldn't mind, please explain briefly why you feel Israel is in the right.
Well, this war roots back um, many, many, many years ago. Israel bought the territory that Palestine claims is there. And so, from their perspective, they want their territory back. But from Israel's perspective, they paid for this land, they're maintaining this land, and so it's their right to keep it. Palestinians are bombing Israel every day. They've been, especially the south, it's where they reach the most efficiently. But they've even bombed the north recently. Actually, when I was in Israel over the summer, they bombed the north, and that doesn't happen as frequently. So the situation's getting worse and worse on their end. They're actually becoming more and more violent. They're going through tunnels, entering Israel that way, bombing land through tunnels and under Israeli citizens' house unknowingly. So the situation is getting worse and worse, and it's definitely being instigated by the other side.
So you see a definite spike in the violence and from what I'm inferring from what you said, the
Yes.
attack on innocent civilians by the Palestinians, whereas the
100%.
Israelis are not so prone to do this, you say?
Yes, I mean, if you look at the grand time period, there are a ton of spikes, but the most recent one, I would say, occurred over the summer when they were bombing Tel Aviv, and they were actually aiming at the airport several times, which is definitely harder to do monetarily for them. They need a lot more resources to do that, so the fact that they were actually putting their money into this shows how dedicated they were to making the situation more of a cause on their end and making them seem like they have more control.
Right. So you had mentioned that you had looked on social media and other facets, and you had seen that people are either not knowledgeable or sharing false information. I'm wondering, how do you feel that the students at Syracuse or people here in general could become more sensitive and educated about the issue?
Well, for starters, I think before posting a response to something on Facebook or on any social media, or even instigating a conversation, to make sure that you're getting the right information, to go on legitimate websites such as the New York Times, CNN, Fox, get both sides, both Republican and Democratic sides of it, to really get a grand sense of the situation and not a polarized one view of it.
And specifically on campus, are you aware of any pro-Israeli groups that you would join or are possibly currently in?
Well, one of my friends just actually started a group that's pro-Israel in the conflict, and its purpose is to educate students about it. And I'm currently not part of the group because of class schedule conflict, but I definitely would be part of it, and I think it's really important to join a group like this to raise awareness on campus.
And out of curiosity, although you are pro-Israel, and you feel the need for a pro-Israel group on campus, do you still feel the need for Palestinian representation on campus? Should there be a pro-Palestinian group?
100%. If there's a pro-Israel group, then there should be a pro-Palestine group. This is not a one-ended conversation, and everyone should be exposed to both sides in order for them to get a true opinion and what they think is actually the better side and the better cause.
Right. And as you are currently a student, while the conflict has been escalating more and more over the summer and in the fall, I'm wondering, have you gotten into any conflict or situations where there's been an argument over the Middle Eastern conflict with a Palestinian at Syracuse? Where you've heard of arguments or anything like that?
Well, I actually haven't encountered any of that in Syracuse, but back at home, growing up actually, our nanny, her name is Nadia, she's from Morocco, but she is Arab and she is very pro-Palestine, and so sometimes we encounter some discomfort, like for example, like if we have dinners, like she's always invited to the dinners, of course, and sits with us. Like I would sometimes have to watch what I'm saying. My mom always tells us to watch what we say just to avoid discomfort, and that in itself shows that, you know, this is something real and it affects homes and it affects, you know, I'm not even a Palestinian person, but just someone who shares their views, and how that could create a lot of discomfort even if you're not part of it, you know. Obviously she's not a terrorist, but her views are still very strong, and so they conflict a lot with ours.
Right, and through that, it's essential to note that you don't need to be from Palestine or from Israel to have a strong opinion on this matter. It seems that what you're saying is that it's something almost everyone can learn about and formulate a strong opinion on, because it's a pressing issue in today's society.
Right.
It's definitely a very pressing issue. So thank you very much for your time. This is Kim Azugi, an Israeli citizen who vacations in Israel over the summer, but currently lives in America, and who is affected heavily by the Middle Eastern conflict. Thank you very much.